Let me explain to y'all just a little taste of some of the things that this former coworker had done. And this is all while she actually worked with me, mind you. I had started dating someone who worked for the same company as I did. We'll call him Tom, but he worked at a different location as I did. And what would happen every 2 3 days before Thanksgiving is my two locations would get together and they would do almost like a little Olympics. Like there sometimes would be like a flag football game. Sometimes there was kickball. There would be like foosball, pool, mini golf, like all sorts of stuff that they would do as a little competition between the two locations. Well, my grandmother passed away, and those little two show off games that we did was during her wake. And the guy that I was dating at the time, Tom, he our relationship was new. We didn't feel like it was necessarily the right time for him to be meeting the family at a funeral. Like it was just a whole. Plus, he had signed up to compete way before him and I ever met, so he was gonna go do that. And I get a phone call from him during my grandmother's wake. And I'm thinking, okay, it's my boyfriend, he's checking in on me, my man knows I'm so stressed that my grandma passed away. Oh my God, he's checking in, trying to give me distraction. No, we'll call this girl Elizabeth. He calls me on the phone to say, hey, just so you know, I'm not trying to stress you out at your grandma's wake, but you'd be more pissed at me if I didn't tell you about this right when it happened. We were just playing pool and Elizabeth had to, shoot her shot, whatever it's called. I don't play pool, I know the terminology, like right near where I was standing. Instead of waiting for me to move behind, as she's leaning over to shoot, she starts rubbing her butt up behind me, and then she goes, oh my gosh, yay, I made it, and runs up to me and starts rubbing my arms. And she knew that him and I were together. She knew that was a thing. And I'm on the phone, I'm like, great, thanks babe, awesome. A few months later, one of her former boyfriends that she had, really as we found out later, it wasn't a boyfriend, it was a guy that she went on 2 dates with, and then he cut it off thinking that it wasn't the right match. But she was so heartbroken, and oh my God, and this happened 2 years earlier, she's still heartbroken over this guy after, him cutting her off after 2 dates. He brings his new girlfriend into the restaurant where we're working at, and he didn't even know that she worked there. It was like he was being rude and rubbing it in her face. He brings her in, and oh my God, she's so heartbroken, and he's nowhere even near my section, but everything is awesome, and she's in the back, and she's in the service station, and she's blubbering and sobbing and blah blah blah, and I walk around like, who the fuck is crying? And as I turn the corner, the second she hears me, completely stops crying. Oh my gosh, Morgan, how's Tom? Every single time she met a new guy that she thought was attractive, she would just go on and on and on. It was like a game of 20 questions. It was a personal life interview. She would try to know everything about them all at once, and they were all always very overwhelmed. I remember turning to her at one point and she's asking all these questions. What about this and this and that and that? And I stop and I turn to her and I'm like, yo, Elizabeth, you want a social security number too? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And she just looks at me, I'm trying to be personal. That same bar, the previous video, where she was upset that I didn't greet her and, treat her like everything was amazing. And I just told her to move. She was in my way from getting a drink. I'd run into her 2 years earlier while we were still working together at that bar. And I guess it was her birthday because she runs up to me and she goes, oh my God, Morgan, I'm drunk. Buy me a shot. And then grabs my chest. And I'm not talking she puts her hand on my boobs. I'm talking she's grabbing titty meat and shaking my stuff around in her hands. Because she's drunk and we're girls and we're coworkers and it's friends and it's okay.